Hey guys, Serenity Darkheart here. Sorry I haven't really been able to put up videos or anything. It's just been real hectic lately. And I know I said I was going to do movie reviews and stuff, and I know I said that my Game of Thrones review would be my first review, and I've actually had to postpone that idea just because, again, things have been really hectic and everything. But and I actually was going to do a different review today, seeing as what today is the anniversary of, but then I kind of decided against that, and I'll get into that a little later. But I just wanted to make a little video as like a tribute, because on this day in history, years ago, just 4 days after leaving Southampton on its maiden voyage, the mighty, majestic Titanic hit an iceberg and sank. But due to its 16 watertight compartments, it was deemed unsinkable, which is also the reason for the less than adequate amount of lifeboats that were on the ship. At 2:20 the morning of April 15th, the ship finally went under, and sadly 1,500 of the 2,200 passengers and crew died, either because they went down with the ship or because of the frigid temperatures of the water that night. Sadly, also, approximately 700 of the survivors that night were women and children. Although this tragedy did have a positive note, because what happened was, because of this whole tragedy, because, they didn't have enough lifeboats and everything, they actually ended up gaining stricter safety regiments for all ships now, and they actually send patrols out on that route now to trace the location of the icebergs, just to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. The reason I wanted to make this video and talk about it is just because Titanic has always been one of my main focuses in history, and I honestly love the movie. Like I said, I was actually going to review that today, but I just decided to make a short video because I know a lot of people have negative reviews on the movie because they took a love story, a fakey love story, and threw it into the movie. So today my video is more on the focus of the actual tragedy itself and making it as a remembrance. This video is in remembrance of the people that lost their lives that night, for the families that had to go through that, and sorry for the pause. But like I said, it's always been one of my main views, because just because I don't know why, but as a lover of history, that tragedy is just one of the stories that actually has really impacted me. And just thinking about what happened, like, all those people, they were like fine, they were having fun, and the next moment the ship is sinking and you're having to basically escape with your life. And it just makes me think about, you never know what tomorrow could bring, and don't take everything for granted. Like, yes, you take one day at a time, but you don't take anything for granted, because in the blink of an eye, it could be gone. And I think that's one lesson this tragedy can teach us, is don't take things for granted, because you never know when they're going to be gone. Like I said, I just wanted to make this short video because it is the anniversary of the sinking, and I wanted to make it in remembrance of those people, the crew members and the passengers that all lost their lives. And I know many people probably don't think about it today, but it is one of those that will sadly live on in history. But like I said, positive reviews, positive effects came out of that. So I guess it's one of those bad things, make light of a bad thing and turn it into something good, because like I said, they have better safety regulations on ships nowadays, and they've put the correct number of lifeboats, and now they have radars and stuff that they can go on the routes and be able to track the icebergs, so no tragedy like this ever happens again. And so yeah, that's what I wanted to make the video on. And if you guys want to learn more about the Titanic and how it was built, and just the history behind it, you can always look it up online or go to your local library. I know a lot of people, they have smartphones and computers and stuff, so they don't really need to go to the library anymore. But I happen to believe that it's really good that we still have the libraries, because I actually do like to still sit down and read a book. I actually will go to my library and check out books. So, and like the library has like a lot of books on the Titanic. And also, if you're ever in either Branson, Missouri or Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, you guys really need to check out the Titanic museums that they've got there. It is an awesome. They are. I haven't been to the one in Branson, but I have been to the one in Pigeon Forge multiple times, and I love going in there every single time that I go in there. And what is the machine? The museums are actually built to look like the front half of the ship, and it's actually as big as the front half of the ship if you look at it, and it looks like the very front half of the ship, and it looks really, really cool. And it's just an awesome walk-through attraction. They've got so many things in there. Like, they've got an iceberg that you can actually go and touch, and they even have a area in there where there's water that's the exact same temperature of the water that was, how cold the water was that night that the ship sank, and you can stick your hand in it and actually see how cold it was that night. And they even, one of the big highlights of the museum is even a big exact replica of the grand staircase that was in the actual ship. It looks really, really cool and really beautiful, and they even host private parties and weddings there. You can actually even get married on the grand staircase. It is really neat. And it's a self-guided tour, but I know the one in Pigeon Forge, I don't know if the one in Branson does this, but I know the one in Pigeon Forge actually gives you these little radio things that you can go through the museum, and they'll have certain numbers in certain areas, and you just key the number into the radio, and it will tell the story about, and it'll have somebody telling the story about that piece or the room you're in and everything. And they even have actual artifacts from the Titanic to view there, and a lot of there's like a little interactive kids area. They got there's a place where it'll show different angles of the deck, basically like kind of this angle and then angle as the ship sinks. So you can go up there. There's a little interactive area for the kids. There's even an area in there where you can get to see where the debris field. They actually have mapped out the debris field, and you can see like where one half of the ship went down, how far away the other half of the ship, and then where they found different things. And one really, really neat idea that they've done with the tickets, when you get your tickets and you get in line, they'll give you this boarding pass, and the boarding pass will actually have the name and information of an actual passenger on the Titanic. And by the end, and then it'll tell you their story and how old they were, what their name was, and their story. And at the end of the museum, they have a huge wall of in remembrance of the passengers and crew members that died. So you can actually look on that wall to see if your the person on your boarding pass either lived or died on the ship that night. And it is really, really cool. Like I said, I've been multiple times. I love the museum in Pigeon Forge, and I'm pretty sure the one in Branson's the same way. But let's see, I've been to it about like 4 different times. I love going in there. I'd go in there every single time I went up to Pigeon Forge if I could. I know it's like I know it's the same every time. Actually, it's not the same every time. The artifacts are the same, but they also do different events throughout the year. Like one of the last time I went, they actually had an event where they had the costumes from the movie set up throughout the museum. And like the dress that Rose wore when the ship was sinking, the one she wore at the beginning of the movie, Jack's costume. They even had the Heart of the Ocean set up in there, set up in one of the rooms, and just a lot of the different costumes from the movie. There's an area that's set up like the stateroom that looks like the room that Rose and her mother, or Rose and Cal, were in. And they had their costumes set up. They had like Rose's gown that night, and Cal's tuxedo or something. I can't remember, but that's like one of the events they do. One of the other events I actually sadly ended up missing that they just had last month for St. Patrick's Day was they were remembering the Irish builders and people that were on the ship. It was a kind of a remembrance thing for all the Irish people that were involved in building the ship and that were on the ship and it perished and all that. But it is a really neat place to go, and no, they are not paying me to say this. This is just because I love it so much, and I think anybody wanting to learn about the Titanic and is interested in the Titanic would absolutely love the museum if you haven't been there before. It's just, like I said, a really neat attraction, and it's in the middle of Pigeon Forge on the Parkway, going into Sevierville, so it's really hard to miss, actually, like I said, because it's like built like the front half of the Titanic, so it is very hard to miss. But yeah, like I said, that I just wanted to make this video because today is the anniversary of the sinking, and I know I just hadn't posted a video for a while, so I thought I would just do this one to kind of at least hold over a little bit till I can finally get my reviews and stuff together and up, and just like I said, in remembrance of the people that perished on the ship that night. And so until next time, until I can finally get my reviews up, this is Serenity Dark Heart in Abyssinia. Also, as a quick reminder, I actually just remembered this myself. I wanted to make a quick shout out to my friend Dame Saturday. She, I'm going to put the link down to in the description to her channel, but she does a lot of creepypasta readings and just creepy story readings and all that. And, it's really cool, and she even actually did a reading of a true story that I gave her myself. So like I said, I'm going to put the link to her channel down in the description. Just go over and check her out if you like the creepy stuff, if you like the creepy readings of the creepypastas and just creepy stories in general. Check her out, like, subscribe to her. And if you liked today's video from mine, also if you just like, subscribe, click the little bell icon so you'll know when I end up posting other videos, which I can't guarantee when the next one will be up, but it will be up for sure. So yeah, like I said, this is Serenity Dark Heart signing off, and until next time, Abyssinia.